in 2024, Adobe, the giant behind Photoshop and Illustrator, lost a quarter of its value in just months. Billions of dollars gone. For decades, this company was untouchable, the beating heart of the creative world. But something snapped. The empire that built the world's most iconic tools was suddenly bleeding out in real time. Investors panicked, regulators circled, and creators, the very lifeblood of Adobe's business, turned against them in open revolt. What followed wasn't just a corporate stumble. It was the beginning of an unraveling that exposed how fragile Adobe's dominance really was. But the true collapse didn't start on Wall Street. It started with one failed deal that shook the empire to its core. For more than 30 years, Adobe reigned supreme. Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere. These weren't just tools. They were the industry standard. Designers, filmmakers, agencies, they built entire careers around them. To most, Adobe looked unbreakable. But behind the polished marketing and record revenues, the foundation was eroding. Regulators circling, lawsuits piling up, competitors plotting their strike, and the creative community, once loyal to a fault, whispering about betrayal. Adobe still wore the crown, but the throne was shaking. The air around the company was tense like the silence before a storm. And then, in late 2023, one deal, the biggest in Adobe's history, exploded and revealed just how fragile their empire really was. September 2022. Adobe shocked the world with a $20 billion bid for Figma, a young startup redefining design with cloud-native collaboration. Twice its valuation. The message was clear. Adobe wasn't innovating fast enough, so it tried to buy its biggest threat. But regulators saw through the move. From Washington to London to Brussels, the verdict was the same: this merger would strangle competition and suffocate innovation. By December 2023, Adobe was forced to bow its head. The deal collapsed, and with it, $1 billion evaporated overnight in breakup fees, a humiliation carved into the record books. It wasn't just money lost, it was proof that Adobe's only weapon against rivals was gone. And soon, the fight would turn from competitors to Adobe's own customers. June 2024, the US Federal Trade Commission strikes. Adobe accused of running a subscription trap. What did that mean? Hidden fees, dark patterns, customers locked into year-long contracts they thought were monthly. Try to cancel? Suddenly you owed hundreds in penalties. Push back? Adobe forced you into endless phone calls with aggressive retention agents. For years, creatives whispered about the nightmare of leaving Adobe. Now the government made it official. Systematic deception, approved at the highest levels. The empire's glossy image was cracking wide open, and the timing couldn't have been worse, because as regulators attacked from the outside, a storm of anger was building inside Adobe's own community. Buried in June 2024's updated terms of service was a bombshell. Adobe quietly gave itself sweeping rights to access user content for machine learning analysis. In plain words, your art, your designs, your confidential projects could be fed into Adobe's AI. The creative world erupted. Filmmakers under NDA, agencies guarding client secrets, artists fearing their life's work might be swallowed into corporate training data. Hashtags spread like wildfire. High-profile creators cancelled subscriptions live on social media. And then Adobe made the mistake worse, locking users out of their own files unless they accepted the new terms. A hostage situation in broad daylight. Trust, once broken, doesn't return. But what happened next proved Adobe's weakness wasn't just legal or cultural, it was financial. December 2024. Adobe reported record revenues, billions flowing in. On paper, the empire was thriving, but Wall Street didn't buy it. Analysts slashed ratings. The stock collapsed 14% in a single day, the steepest plunge in years. Why? Because beneath the glossy numbers, investors saw a company stumbling. Generative AI tools like Firefly weren't translating into profits. Younger creators were flocking to Figma, Canva, even free open source alternatives. Art schools stopped teaching Adobe. Enterprises realized they could save millions by switching. The psychology had flipped. Adobe wasn't a necessity anymore. It was a liability. And once the illusion of invincibility shatters, fear spreads fast. What competitors unleashed next would turn Adobe's struggles into a full-blown collapse. By 2025, the wolves were at the gates. Figma, stronger than ever after escaping Adobe's grasp, unveiled AI-powered design tools and filed for IPO, aiming to eclipse its former predator. Canva stormed into the enterprise market with simple workflows and transparent pricing. Open source tools gained momentum free from corporate strings. Adobe, once the center of the creative universe, found itself isolated, a relic of a bygone era. Its subscription fortress had become a prison, driving users toward the exits. The network effects that once locked people in now worked in reverse. The silent death of Adobe isn't a single moment. It's a slow, unraveling one, open wound at a time. And while the company still breathes, its dominance is gone. Because when an empire loses the trust of its people, no amount of innovation can save it. Adobe's story isn't just about software, it's a warning. In the age of creators, power no longer belongs to the giants who own the tools, but to the millions who choose which tools to use.